I remember in that first 5 weeks when I first started, I had one of the school's most difficult students, and I had no heads up on what he liked or what he didn't like and all this stuff. And I remember I worked for 5 weeks straight with him and he wouldn't speak to me. I sat side by side with him all the time. And on the last day, he wrote a post-it note and said, "You are cool." And I was like, oh my goodness, it's taken me 5 weeks to get "you are cool." And I still had that post-it note framed. So the next year when I came, I got some really, really good advice. And someone said to me, look, there's going to be lots of challenges, but we need to flip that script and we need to look at the positives and we need to remember the positives. So my mentor at the time said to me, "I want you to start a good stuff book." And I was like, books? I haven't got time for books. But she said, "I want you to start a good stuff book, and I want you, every time something great happens or someone gives you some great advice or they tell you you've done a great job, I want you to write it down on a piece of paper and stick it in your book. And I want you to start from the back." I was like, "Look, we start from the front." She's like, "No, I want you to start from the back, because in the front, I want you to write down like the worst thing that happened this week every week. And hopefully by the end of the year, the positives from the back will overtake the front." So I still have my book. And in my book, I have lots of different things. I have origami that people have given me. I have notes that people have given me saying, "You are amazing. Awesome team last Friday. Thanks for lending me your ears. Thanks for what you're doing in the classroom. Taryn, keep being you. I like you." This is coming from adults. And I was like, wow. So I keep this book. This is my good stuff book. And I'm actually on to my second book. And every time something happens good, I write it down. And I then decided to do a personal one at home, but I had a box. So that's why I've got the picture of the jar there today. Every day, find something good in every day and put it in there on a piece of paper or write it in the book. And then when you're having a bad day, pull one of those out or open up your book and read about the good stuff that's happened. Because so often we get bogged down with all the negativity. One bad thing diminishes 5 good things that could have happened in that day. And we should be focusing on the positives. Because if we continue to focus on the negatives, then that's what our kids are going to focus on. We want to be role models for them because, as I said earlier, we are part of their environment. These kids are going to be products of this environment also, not just their home environment. So celebrate the good stuff. It also gives you glimpses of the victories. It also can give you patterns of how things went for the year. It could also be that light bulb moment again for you, that purpose. Rereading it can just lift you up. So how do you celebrate your successes? Because as I said before, as adults, we don't tend to do that. We kind of just, okay, that's all in day's work. Let's just get it done. But I really want to challenge you guys to start a good stuff book. If anything you get from this today, other than the fact that I can talk 100 miles an hour, tomorrow find an exercise book. And whether you don't have a positive thing for every day, that's okay. Maybe it's once a week. You find one positive from that week, write it in the book. Make sure you date it, because I want you to see that I'm looking back and reflecting just how awesome you are, just how lucky our kids and our staff are to have you. None of us are just as those. We are so important. And sometimes simple things by having a good stuff book is all we need to be reminded that we are valued and we are known and that we are cared for in our school settings. So think about it. I know we've only been back 2 days, but it might be something that happened in the last week of last term, okay? Think about one good thing that had happened for you so far this term or at the last week of last term. Mine today was really simple. I walked in there today and I had kindergarten first up, because our school goes from kindergarten to year 12 and we have about 225 kids. And this week we've got 9 new kids starting. I don't know where they come from, because obviously the word is out that Bora is a fantastic town and our school is awesome. And I was like, kindergarten, I don't think I'm kindergarten fit yet because I've, had 2 weeks holiday. It normally takes me a couple of weeks. And I walked in there and one of the kids said, make sure you take off your mask, Mrs. Riles, because we want these new kids to remember you. And I was like, wow, this is coming from kinder kids. They wanted to make sure that their new friends in their classroom remembered my face. And that just lifted me up. I was like, wow, that is so cool. These kids, we don't give them enough credit sometimes. They are amazing. So have a think about it. What's something that has been great for you so far since you started back this term, or maybe as a last week of last term? And let's jot it down in the chat box. Let's have a share.